and welcome to Bite-Size Astrology, a unique cooking show where I share my love of food, all while teaching you astrology in bite-sized pieces. Welcome to the show. I'm Maria DeSimone, your astrologer and your host. Today I have a very special guest. She is a certified psychic medium. Her name is Doreen Malloy, and she's going to cook up a storm with us while I explain all about psychic indicators in the birth chart. Welcome, Doreen, to the show.
Hi, Maria.
Doreen is my very good friend, and we happened to have met back in 2007 while I was doing an extensive research project on psychic indicators in the birth chart. And Doreen was one of the many mediums who volunteered their birth information for me to study. And of course, her psychic abilities are astounding, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But first, I would love for all of you to pay attention to this amazing recipe she is going to share with us today. So what are you cooking up today?
Oh, this is good. We're going to have some tortellini with vegetables and shrimp. Mm-hmm. And I love this recipe. This is like one of my favorite recipes because this is the kind of recipe that you make with whatever you have in the house. So, for instance, the vegetables today are some yellow peppers, and we're going to have some sugar snap peas and some sun-dried tomatoes. And there are times when I have zucchini or broccoli or whatever I have in the house, and you can just kind of mix and match this kind of recipe. So I love this. This is one of my favorites, and it's, well, you'll see.
This is going to be great. Doreen and I have so much in common, and one of the things we have in common is the Italian cook vibe. So she can throw anything together, and now she is going to show you what happens when she does that.
Yes, that's
how do we get started?
Well, before we actually start to cook, I want to just show with these sun-dried tomatoes, I love to marinate these. Now, these are the tomatoes that you buy dry, not the ones in oil. You can get sun-dried tomatoes in oil. And what I like to do is I cut them up little bite-sized pieces, and the first thing I'm going to do is just put a little olive oil on them. And just show you that. Just kind of wet them a little bit and toss this around. Just want to get a little coating of oil on these. And here's my little secret with this. You take a little bit of red wine. And by the way, when I cook with red wine, I like to get these little tiny bottles.
I love that tip.
You see these with the 4-packs,
Great idea.
And yeah, so you're not opening up a full bottle. And we're going to just put a little bit of this, probably what amounts to about 2 tablespoons, okay, on
Very
here.
Nice.
And you see it in the dish there, but you're not going to see it in a few minutes.
It'll soak it all up.
It's going to soak it up. All those wonderful sugars in the wine are going to just melt nice with those tomatoes, and we're going to put a little bit of basil on that because you can't have tomatoes without basil.
No,
you just
can't.
have to have that.
I
just
love that. I've never marinated sun-dried tomatoes in red wine before.
Yeah.
Now I will.
Yeah, and I may even just put a little splash more in there because you can see it's all ready. I'm making a mess.
It looks so colorful, and you can smell the sun-dried tomatoes.
And you want a little bit of pepper in here. You want a little bit of salt in here. Okay, that's this way.
It has to be open. This is my little toy, my new little. You tell me how much.
Just a little. That's perfect.
Okay, now this is actually Himalayan pink sea salt, and you could get this at Trader Joe's if you have it in your neighborhood.
I'm gonna get that.
It is a really clean tasting sea salt. It's got a little sweet flavor to it, but not overpowering. It just has a wonderful clean taste, so it's my latest little toy.
Now just look how much wine is left, okay?
Already, it soaked it up fast.
Which means that we do need a little splash, okay? If you see it like that. So
it's like you're reconstituting the sun-dried tomatoes.
Actually, absolutely. And we're just put a little oil first, a little bit of wine.
Okay.
So while that's cooking, marinating, we're going to start cooking some of our vegetables.
Nice. So you're putting a low flame on your saute pan, and
we're going to do some yellow peppers. Do some of those. We have some sliced up already, and
this is one bell pepper that you're using for the recipe.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, I love the colors, so I'll go for the yellow pepper because we have the red tomatoes and we have some sugar snap peas.
That looks great.
So yeah, and that's what we're going to start out with. So, okay, so we're just going to throw these in and just have this on low, a little bit of olive oil in there. We're just going to saute this up for about 3, 4, 5 minutes, A little salt and pepper. Okay, a little bit like that.
And while Doreen is sauteing the peppers, I'm going to talk a little bit about psychic ability in the birth chart and how you can find out about yours. One of the wonderful things that I found out about your chart when I first started exploring it is how saturated it is with water. And the water signs are the most intuitive of the zodiac. These are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And those peppers are sounding good. And so these water signs correspond to the moon, to Neptune, and to the planet Pluto. So you'll find that if you have a predominance of water energy in your chart, you have that psychic, sponge, intuitive knowing. And Doreen is what's known as a double Pisces in astrology, meaning her sun and moon are both placed in the sign Pisces. Piscean energy it soaks up psychic information the way those sun-dried tomatoes just soaked up the wine. She could be standing next to anyone and their mood, their vibe, their feelings, what's going on will just invade her if she doesn't know how to draw boundaries. And her greatest lesson in life really is to learn how to draw those boundaries. Pisces, you're known as being so compassionate and you tend to be the doormat because you feel other people's pain so acutely, and you've dealt with that. I know.
Oh, yeah.
You told me early on in your life that was a problem.
Yeah, you have to learn how to control that. I'm empathic, so that means that I will feel anything that other people are feeling. Sometimes physical feelings also. So if you were ill and you were going through some kind of health issue, I would pick up on that. Of course, if you had emotional, something emotional going on, I'm going to sense that and feel that as well. So, yeah.
And all of the water signs have a receptive nature. The moon is going to connect to someone at the soul level. Again, Pisces and corresponding to Neptune, it's that psychic sponge energy. Now, Scorpio and Plutonian energy is very much associated with mediumship. And Doreen happens to be a psychic medium, which means she's not only psychic, but she does connect to the other side. And Doreen, again, has many of these indicators of psychic ability, which I couldn't even begin to go over in the show because so many of you are at a beginner level of astrology and I'd lose you. But just know that you all have psychic indicators in your chart and you all use them in different ways. Let's say you have a lot of fire in your chart, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius energy. You're going to have those hunches, that intuitive instant knowing of something, and trust that, always trust that. If you have heavy air in your chart, the signs Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, for instance, then you're going to be very telepathic. You're going to have that ability to actually read minds and sense that energy in the air. And if you have a lot of earth in your chart, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, your business instincts are amazing. Always trust your business instincts. Also, you'll be really talented in an area of the psychic world called psychometry, where you can touch an object and get a feel of the person's energy and what's going on in his or her life. And again, the water signs, the most psychic, because you are emotionally receptive to everything. So, Doreen, tell me a little bit about your work and how you differentiate it as a psychic and in your mediumship practice.
Well, in the psychic world, I always like to describe it as using an overextended sense of your intuitiveness, really. I mean, most people are very intuitive, if you work it. Kind of a step up from that is being psychic. And I do psychic readings for people, and I always consider that to be a function of my mind and what it is that I'm tapping into. Mediumship is very different. That's when you're tapping into another stream of consciousness, and you're really turning on your listening and learning, because there's a lot to learn with that in terms of interpreting what you're getting. And delivering the information in a way that is going to be meaningful and somebody's actually going to understand it, but it's really two different types of ability. Psychic ability could be a lot of different things. if you're empathic, if you do psychometry, you do psychic readings, you know things. There's a saying, you know things without knowing how you know.
You just know.
You just know, okay? It's just that sense of knowing. Yeah. In mediumship, it's a little bit different. That's different.
What I really love and respect about Doreen's work is that in addition to her psychic abilities and her mediumship abilities, she takes great responsibility with her clients, and she's a certified grief counselor. Not many psychic mediums are certified grief counselors. And another thing that we have in common professionally is that we take our private practice so seriously. Our client work, we're dealing with deep traumatic issues. When I'm looking at your birth chart and I'm consulting with you, I'm getting into the nitty-gritty of your life. And when Doreen is channeling spirits from the other side, she's doing something that's very healing, but also very fragile. And she really knows how to handle it. And I have such a great respect for the fact that she is a certified grief recovery counselor. So, what do we do next with these peppers and this yummy recipe?
I think the peppers are just about ready to come out, actually.
Perfect.
They're just about ready. So why don't we just take these out, and we're going to just put them. Now, another little secret I do when I do this, I don't combine all my vegetables right away.
Okay.
I like to do that at the end because you don't want to get that commingled, not just yet.
Okay.
You want everything to taste just,
pure
you get
flavor,
those pure flavors and in each of the, each of the components, each of the vegetables that you put in.
So she's not ready to marry the flavors just
nope,
yet.
Not yet. Not yet. We're not ready to do that. So we're going to put in some sugar snap peas, okay? And we'll put these in.
Okay.
Just kind of let them go. And for anybody that's never done this, they have those little threads on the end. Mm-hmm. So you want to just make sure you don't have any. A lot of times when you buy these, they're already taken off. But, we're just gonna make sure there aren't. This is a nice clean batch and no threads, no strings on here, so we're good. So we're just gonna let these cook up just a little bit.
I could tell from this recipe that there's going to be great texture. When we bite into it, the crunch of those sugar snap peas and then the softened peppers and the sun-dried tomatoes, I could just imagine how it's going to feel in my mouth in a few minutes.
Just a few.
And so while this is cooking, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the different areas of psychic ability. And I'll let you all know how it corresponds astrologically. There is something known as clairsentience.
Right.
Can you explain what that is?
Clairsentience means clear feeling. It's when you feel sensations, okay, in your body. You can also, clairsentience is also about feeling emotions, okay? But it's the sense of feel. All the clairs, as we call them, are different access points.
Okay. And now, so clairsentience from an astrological point of view would relate to Pisces, Cancer, the moon, Neptune. If these are strong in your chart, then you probably are clairsentient.
Right.
What about clairaudience?
Okay, that's clear hearing. Okay, and that is, people say that's a little bit subjective. So if I hear something, let's say I'm connecting to someone in the afterlife, I'm doing mediumship, and I hear someone's voice, a little bit subjective because I'm the only one hearing it. If it was in the room, you'd hear it too.
Right.
Okay, so, but that's the ability to hear something.
And astrologically,
psychically.
Right, and astrologically, clairaudience will correspond to Mercury, the planet of communication, but also Aquarius and the planet Uranus, because Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, and the planet Uranus is that radio frequency, the electromagnetic waves that cannot be seen. And to be a medium, you very often have a very strong Uranian flavor in your birth chart. Usually a Mercury-Uranus connection, or a heavy 11th house, or a heavy Aquarian or Uranus energy. And Doreen absolutely has that in her chart since she is a psychic medium. And so, are we good with the sugar snap? We're still cooking?
Yeah, we're cooking about another minute.
So the other clairvoyance, what is that all about?
Okay, that's clear seeing.
Okay.
And that's when you use your mind's eye to see something. Okay, you might see an image, you might see a vision. Sometimes people are able to see things ahead of time that haven't happened yet. Okay, and that's called precognition. But what you're actually seeing, if you're experiencing precognition, you're seeing almost like a movie play out in fast forward very quickly, just for a few seconds, and it gives you this insight as to something that hasn't actually happened yet. Okay, so you're using two things at the same time if that happens. You're using clairvoyance, mind's eye to see,
Right.
and what's happening is called precognition. You're seeing something outside of the time frame you're in.
And as she explains clairvoyance, it goes back to Neptune. It goes back to Pisces energy. She said it's almost like you're watching a movie in your mind's eye. Well, Neptunian energy is associated with film and, again, with the no boundaries, the ability to tap into what cannot be seen or touched or something you can't taste, but you just know is there. And so these are the clairs,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, there's more of them, but those are the main.
Yeah, those are
the main ones.
Areas.
Yep.
And again, with mediumship, we go back to Pluto, the planet that rules the underworld, the planet that rules occult. And mediumship tendencies are very often signified by strong Scorpio, 8th house, Plutonian qualities in the horoscope. Also, again, to hear the spirits communicate, you have to have a very strong Uranus or Aquarian energy in your horoscope as well. So I hope this introduction was enough to give you a little taste of what psychic ability shows up like in your birth chart. And as you can see, we all have this intuition. Now, I don't believe all of us are meant to be psychics or meant to be psychic mediums. I do believe that much like being a concert pianist, that talent, that strong ability will show in the horoscope. There has to be the natal promise there for it to happen. And Doreen and all the other psychic mediums clearly have that signature. You may or you may not, but either way, you should always cultivate your natural intuitive abilities and trust them. So, what are we doing next?
Where's the wine?
The red wine?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, here, right there. See, just a little bit.
Oh, I
is
thought
left.
you wanted some wine. Would you like some wine?
I would love some wine. That would be wonderful.
Here.
We're always ready with wine.
Doreen and I.
We're good.
Okay. Salud.
Cheers.
Now, I will tell you, after I drink wine, Doreen and I, we have become best buds. We have so much in common. It was hysterical because I started out really just wanting her birth chart and nothing more. I was using her for her horoscope, to be honest.
I'm going to put these in while you're talking about that.
And so she was genuinely interested in my study. So she asked a lot of questions and we ended up becoming friends. And we have this complete connection about being Italian women and metaphysicians and our love of food and cooking. And we'll get together at her place usually. And it'll be wine, chocolate, an absolute feast in her living room, and metaphysical heaven, because I will be whipping out all of the birth charts and the astrology, and she will have her tarot cards or her other psychic toys. She has a lot of psychic toys. And we just have a blast together. It's always a lot of fun hanging out.
It is a lot of fun, yeah.
It really is. And together we do some teaching work occasionally where Doreen will lecture about psychic ability and she teaches people how to develop their psychic ability, which is very important because, again, especially knowing that you will have certain indicators in your birth chart, you want to maximize those specific talents. And Doreen, I have to tell you, out of any psychic development class or lecture I've been to, and I've attended several, her teaching method is superior. She is a natural born teacher. And the reason why I have to say is because her Piscean energy is focused in the 9th house of the horoscope. And the 9th house is all about higher learning and spiritual teaching. This is the philosopher. This is the spiritual leader. And Doreen certainly excels in that area. So be sure to check out her website, DoreenMalloy.com, because you will find not only information about private consultations, about her mediumship sessions, but also her workshops on psychic and mediumship. So tell me now, what's next with this cooking?
Well, we're just about to the end of our vegetables, and these are about ready to come out. I don't like to cook these tomatoes too long.
The colors look
They're
amazing.
beautiful. And so here's what's going to happen now. So our vegetables are done. We're going to put in some shrimp, and we're going to put our tortellini in. And once that's cooked, and that's not going to take us too long, we're going to throw everything together. I'm going to show you how this all fits together, okay? We do want to put a little garlic in here, though, as soon as we take this out, because
Okay, so that's
there's
after you
another,
take the tomatoes out.
that's another match made in heaven when you're making some shrimp, and
Shrimp and garlic.
you want to put a little garlic in there.
That looks beautiful. How gorgeous does that look? And I have to say, I really love the fact that I'm just hanging out here drinking wine and doing all the cooking. This is just fun. But you'll put me to work later.
I will.
Especially when I have to pick up my fork and taste it.
So just a little bit of oil, and we'll just throw in a little garlic in this.
Now the garlic, are you sautéing it? Are you roasting it? How
I like to slice it. I like to put it in these little slices like this because I want to leave it in there, and I like for some people like the garlic, some people don't like the garlic, so you want to be able to see that. And we're just going to saute this up for just a minute or two, let it get a little bit brown.
Okay.
And then we're going to throw our shrimp in there. Let's put this up just a little bit. This is starting to get yummy looking.
It smells amazing in this kitchen. Really amazing.
And this is such a simple dish because it's very fast. We're cooking it in real time as we're talking, so it's really a very quick fix.
You can throw this all together. This is one of those 20-minute meals that when you're in the middle of the busy work week. Oh, my kids would love this. I'm definitely making this for my kids.
Yep. This is a nice, easy. And you can use whatever you want. If you have children there and they don't like fish or they don't like shrimp, make little chicken fingers in there or something. Make it with chicken. Sometimes we make it just with the vegetables. So for vegetarians, and this is a cheese tortellini. But if you're vegan, just make a nice whole wheat pasta with it. So you really can kind of do whatever you want with this. If you just put the seasonings in, the fresh herbs, the garlic, and that Parmesan Reggiano cheese, it's what's really going to be the finishing touch on this.
And Doreen and I both have that fondness for the freshest, best ingredients possible. And that has nothing to do with psychic ability. That's the Taurus energy coming out.
That's Taurus, and that's where we're Italian.
We're food snobs. And so you should see in her house, she has this amazing natural herb garden. She's very big on organic food, really healthy, wholesome cooking. So we're eating well.
We are. And there's one other thing. While we're getting ready to put this shrimp in, because this is the last stage, I'm going to show you how to make a little dipping oil.
Yum.
And this is going to be really, really yummy.
Okay.
Because, again, it's all about the fresh herbs, okay? And I like to use, just, again, a very coarse chop on this. I like to use parsley. And I like to use, this is curly parsley or Italian parsley. And I grow this all summer, and it's so delicious. I like having an herb garden because then I can just pick it fresh as I'm cooking. So we're going to do some parsley. We're going to do some fresh chopped oregano, okay? Beautiful. And, of course, some basil. Got to have some chopped basil in there.
Basil.
So this is the simplest thing you could ever do. I'll show you.
This is your
without knocking everything over.
I have to smell it. Oh, I love this.
Yep,
this
and that's from the garden that I'm keeping alive until spring comes back in. So my garden is on my windowsill right now because it's winter.
And she has about 112 cats that don't touch it.
No, they don't. They don't like herbs, so they're not going to touch that.
I tease her about being the cat lady because
but
I'm not a cat person.
No,
but
those are
nice.
the babies. Those are the little babies. Okay, so I think while we're doing this, I think we're going to throw in our, because this is nice and spin up here a little bit. So I think what we're going to do now is put our pasta in while we're making this nice dipping oil.
Great.
So do that. And we just need a little more heat on here. I want to put that up a little bit. And going to get this in.
That handy big slotted spatula you have, I love it.
Yeah, this is great.
Nice tool.
Yep.
And you're going to cook this tortellini for about 7 minutes.
About 7 minutes. These are the fresh case pastas, okay? And so when you get them in the fresh case, they tend to cook about 5 minutes to 7 minutes. If you're making the dried, shelf-stable, 10 to 12 minutes, okay? So let's take this.
And the shrimp's going right in.
This is
And
going right
Doreen has already cleaned and deveined all the shrimp. So make sure you clean your shrimp.
And we're just going to make this really low because our pasta's going to cook at the same time. And I'm multitasking.
Yes.
So we're going to make that dipping oil for you.
Is there anything I can do?
Yeah, you could stir that shrimp for me. That's awesome.
I can stir shrimp. I have a job.
You can. You can stir that shrimp.
Okay.
Okay, so we're just putting a little bit of fresh chopped oregano on here. And now we're going to chop up the rest of this basil. This is so good. Once you've had seasoned dipping oil with fresh herbs and fresh garlic, you're not going to want to dip in regular oil.
I confess I don't make this, but I think you are converting me.
Well, this only takes a few minutes, honestly, to do.
It's quick and easy.
Yeah, it's very quick and easy.
It looks good.
And you just kind of sprinkle this on the dish. And then we're going to put the rest of our garlic in here.
Do you know one thing I do, Doreen, is I infuse oil with garlic sometimes, and that would probably even add
there it is.
More depth of flavor to that.
There's the garlic
Yum.
right on there. And so we're just going to pour a nice bed of oil right on top of this. And it actually marinates very quickly, believe it or not. And here's the other secret to this. So we've got our herbs, okay, and we've got our garlic. We're going to put some fresh pepper and a little salt.
Delicious.
And this is it. And you know, you put this on the table. With dinner and some delicious bread. And I think we're all set here.
We're all set. Should I raise the heat a little bit here on the shrimp?
You could cook it, let's see. We've got about 4.5 minutes left on our pasta, so let's cook it slow.
Oh, you want to cook this slow? You want it all to be ready at once?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. So that's just, so there we go. And we're going to put out some whole grain bread to use with that. Oops.
She's bumping into me in the kitchen.
We're dancing in the kitchen.
There's too many cooks in the kitchen. That's okay.
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 So let's shut this off now. Our pasta's done. And
shrimp looks
I'm just
good.
gonna put that there like that. So I also made on the side a little bit of a wine reduction.
Now she
just
got
a little
fancy.
bit. Okay. So we're just going to put this in, and it's just a little bit. There was actually about a cup of white wine in here.
Okay.
And we just reduced that to about a quarter cup.
Dry
Believe it or
white
not.
wine over the
Any
stove.
kind,
Nice.
whatever you have.
Nice, nice,
you know.
nice.
Shut this off, and we're going to throw our pasta right in here.
Ooh, looks good.
We have some cheese tortellini, and as soon as we do that,
That wine reduction, great.
just
addition.
a little bit, yeah, you know, and we can make sure also that we got it all. So just
Soak that up.
yeah, soak that up,
Nice.
and we're going to get our veggies in here now.
Very nice.
Now we mix everything up, and you can take that for me.
Sure.
Okay, so now here's the thing with this. We're mixing it all up. We just want to make sure our veggies are hot.
Looks amazing.
Look at those colors. Isn't that beautiful?
This is for me.
We lost one. You got to run away there. Okay. And here's how this works. So let's spoon some of this out because this is really done now. Everything's together. And we're just going to get all of this out, or at least some of it out for right now.
This is like a party in your mouth. It looks amazing.
Whoop! I lost another one.
That's okay.
I'll have to get that. And so I'll leave some of it in the pan, but I just want to show you how we're going to be serving this, because here's how we do this. You want to just take that a little bit? Okay. So we're going to take a little olive oil and just drizzle that on, okay? Just like this.
Beautiful.
And then We've got some Parmesan Reggiano.
Freshly grated cheese.
Freshly grated.
Because that's how we roll.
That's how we roll. It's got to be fresh. And we're going to put some fresh chopped parsley on this. Nice. And there you have it.
Oh, this looks amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so.
And it's simple. Simple, simple.
So now I am going to take some of this pasta perfection. What's the name of this creation, by the way?
We could call it Doreen's creation. How's that?
Doreen's creation?
It's just,
Doreen's
it's a pasta with either a fish or chicken. In this case, we used some shrimp and some veggies.
For you, my dear.
Thank you.
And some for me. Oh, this looks so good. Did I cheat you? Do you have a little bit of everything?
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
Well, we also need the bread for this dipping sauce.
Yes, we don't want to forget that because that is just.
Absolutely not. Oh, no.
That is just really
We're going to take some
fun.
bread and we're going to do some dipping. That's for you. Don't be shy. We're dipping.
I'm not. We're dipping.
We're dipping. We're eating. Oh, let's taste this first.
So tell me what you think of this.
I instantly taste everything. Oh, it was in here for not even 5 minutes.
No, that's great.
Oh, amazing. The oregano is like shooting in my mouth. Amazing. Wow. Let's dig into this.
Yes.
I can't even talk because I'm so in heaven.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. This is a beautiful recipe. Delicious, easy to make, and so fresh tasting. You've got to try this and make it for your family. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Bite Size Astrology. I hope you found it very enlightening. I hope you try the recipe. And be sure to check out Doreen's website for more information about her life and her work. Thank you so much, Doreen, for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Hasta luego.
Cheers. Cheers.